Hello everyone and welcome to another Versus video with Brad Nelson. That's me, joined by Todd Anderson, and today we're going to be playing with new standard cards.
I don't believe you.
You don't believe that?
You're Todd Anderson and I'm Brad Nelson. Or at least that's what
Take that back. Them fighting words,
At least
buddy.
That's what people come up to me and say all the time when
they
I
call
go
you
to
Brad
tournaments.
Nelson? Yeah, they call BBD Brad Nelson too. Ew. They've called me BBD before. I went with it. It's funny because he's bald. But today I'm going to be playing Red White Devotion cool. With the new set. We have a double red 2-drop in Mardu Scout, the Hang 10 Surfer Bro.
Yeah.
And we've got Flamewake Phoenix, which is just going to be annoying.
It's going to be good.
So annoying.
Yeah, that card, I've already played against it like twice in these videos, and it's gross.
Yeah, it seems very powerful. I'm excited to see what it looks like in a Devotion setting, but let's take a look at the deck, because a lot of things haven't really changed from the old Devotion decks. We still have a lot of the same main players, such as Perforos, Fnatic Amogus, Stormbreath Dragon, and even Eidolon. Now, we've lost a lot of the 2-mana enablers like Burning Tree Emissary and
Frostburn Weird.
Yeah, so what we're stuck with is Mardu Scout and Eidolon. Now, both these are pretty good. I'm scared that the Eidolons might deal me a lot of damage, but to be fair, if we think Heroic and Cantrips and all of these decks are going to be very popular, like that guy actually seems insane against those decks.
Yeah, I agree. I think from a player who normally plays on the heroic side, and having played against Eidolon out of like just mono red aggro decks, Eidolon is one of the most cards that I am afraid to see.
Yeah.
And I think this card, if everyone's leaning on things like Monastery Mentor and just trying to like cantrip and you know generate a lot of advantage through that, Eidolon's going to be insane.
And Jeskai Ascendancies and all that, like just like the decks are slow. So the 2-trips are actually pretty powerful in this deck. Like I wouldn't think Eidolon's going to be great, but it does look like it's going to be good. We have Goblin Rabblemaster, not a Devotion enabler. It does combo with Perforos, but one of the sweet things about the card is it combos interestingly with Valorous Stance. Now, this is a new removal spell that we have that we can kill a guy and attack, but the other thing you can do is just attack into the smaller creatures and give your guy indestructible.
Yeah.
So you have options with your Goblin Rabblemasters, which a deck like this normally wouldn't. Next up was we have the Flamewake Phoenix, which is the new main red card that everyone's been freaking out about, mostly because it is way easier to get back online than Chandra's Phoenix was before, because you have to play all the burn spells, and burn won't be good against Rhinos and Coursers. But with this card, you just need big monsters, and the monsters that we have to turn this on are Perforos, Ashcaled Phoenix, Fnatic Amogus, and Stormbreath Dragon. If we just put one of these into play with a red mana open, we go to combat and get it back into play.
I really wish that these two cards comboed together. The fact that Rabblemaster triggers after declare attackers and this triggers before declare attackers is like a little bit of a
That is
non-bo,
true. I think all cards should work together, so all rares would be then mythics.
Yeah,
just
that'd
so
be great.
So there's no way anyone could ever win on the draw.
Yeah.
Just everything's super powerful.
I just want to win die rolls, baby.
That's true. So then we have Hammer of Perforos, which goes along with Ashcaled Phoenix really well. As well as when we're flooding or we have a ton of mana with Nykthos, we can just make some golems. And interesting enough, this card works really well against Ugin, because you make colorless guys. Yeah, so this is really good. If you're afraid of Ugin killing all your stuff, you can make a bunch of golems.
Yeah.
Fnatic Amogus is the main way you win a lot of your games. You just put a bunch of things on the board, play a Fnatic.
Light them up.
Yeah, they're down to single digits now. Now you just have to pick them apart. I don't remember the name of the card. I should have been prepared for this video, but it's the 5-mana 3/3 that has dash. So it copies. And I thought I'd want to do this with this, but it seems like one of those like Devotion things where when you're ahead, you're really far ahead, and when you're behind, you're really far behind. It's not really going to help that.
I don't really want to play that kind of a creature in a deck. Like, I just don't think that's definitely a win more type creature.
Exactly. And that's why I have 2 Chandra's Phoenix in here.
Ashcaled.
Or Ashcaled Phoenix, sorry. It helps out with your Flamewake Phoenixes, and it's just a good threat. Also, it works well with Perforos.
It's also just a fantastic mana sink. So yeah, and that is something people don't really realize, that Phoenix doesn't just flip over when it dies. It actually hits the graveyard and comes back flip down.
Yep.
And I know that if you don't play Magic Online, like aesthetically, it just feels like it doesn't go to the graveyard, but it does come back into play to trigger Perforos. So.
Yep. Stormbreath Dragon, everyone knows what that does. Chain of the Rocks, everyone knows what that does. And Windscar Craig, everyone should know what that does because I played at the Pro Tour, and I'm a pretty big deal. You should know what the cards are.
One small change just going forward that I would potentially like to make is to trim 1 Nykthos for a Mana Confluence or possibly a 3rd Crag. I think you want to have 1 more white source if you end up playing like more white cards in the sideboard.
I only have 2.
Yeah, I know your sideboard is like not necessarily built that way, but like I'm just saying that this deck can't utilize Nykthos as well as the previous iterations of Red Devotion because Burning Tree Emissary was a huge part of that. And I don't think that this deck can utilize the draws that end up having 2 Nykthoses, whereas the Burning Tree versions could sometimes chain off with like multiple Burning Trees into Nykthos, or with a Nykthos in play a second Nykthos, and then go crazy.
All I can say to you, Todd, is today I'm going to blow you out with 2 Nykthos. I'm going to make sure I set up a game with that.
I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that it is less good than it was. And that is something to consider. I'm just talking about the future. I'm trying
that is true.
All right.
It is way worse than it was in the past.
All right. Let's go.
Still going to beat you. All right, let's go check out the sideboard. So in the sideboard, we see that we've filled out our quads on Valorous Stance and Ashcloud Phoenix. Both cards are good in certain situations, but you do want to split in the main. The problem with monocolor decks in a format with so many multicolor cards is that you run out of good options fast for sideboard options. And this card is just better than other options. I just don't want to play for my main deck. But a deck like Mono Red Devotion, you have cards you want in your main on the play and on the draw. Like this card's going to be much better on the play in some matchups that it's not that great on the draw.
Yeah.
Same with Rabblemaster. So the rest of the sideboard is a ton of removal spells and Chandras. And this will help us like be able to transition our deck away from a Devotion deck on the draw, cut 1 Nykthos and go down to 24 lands because we're going to be trying to kill things and slow down the game. Speed things up.
So you do want to cut a Nykthos sometimes?
On the draw? Of course I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, because that's called sideboard etiquette.
Oh, okay.
You should never have too many lands. Yeah, it's unfair to your opponent if you have too many on the draw.
That's fair.
3 Chandras are going to help out against any of the control strategies that are trying to just wrath all of our stuff. 3 Glare to help out against Monastery Mentor and Jeskai Ascendancy, because I hate when they have an Ascendancy and they just get to do whatever they want whenever they want.
Yeah, it's real good against Heroic too. Like the Glare of Heresy is probably one of the best sideboard cards you have at your disposal at the moment, and potentially main deckable as far as I can tell.
If you were a crazy man.
I mean, I don't think that a main deck Glare of Heresy is going to be incorrect within the next 3 months.
I could see a main deck Glare of Heresy if you're playing Ascendancy, but like whip strategies and blue-black control and even like just Rabblemaster, it's like, I'm so glad I have this in my hand. I'll take 6. Like, 2 Arc Lightnings to help catch up against Rabblmasters and Mentors, along with 3 Magma Sprays. Now there's a new better version in Wild Slash, which can go to the Dome. But when we're boarding in a shock, it has a purpose.
Yeah. And
the purpose is to make sure cards like Ashcloud Phoenix and the other Flamewake Phoenix just
disappear
leave. Yeah, they leave the game. Same with any reason. Like when I want a shock, it's probably because I want to kill something. Now, Wild Slash, if there's a way for them to fog us, that could end up finding slots in the sideboard since it does ferociously stop you.
It does mess over Kiora.
It does mess up Kiora. But I don't think Kiora is good against a deck like this.
Sure. I'm trying to come up with like reasons to play Wild Slash, and it's basically just like Fog and Kiora.
Yeah, Fog of Kiora, that's about it. There's a new Fog that seems decent, but it's not good enough for Standard.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a shock in your main deck, Wild Slash seems like pretty obvious because it can go the Dome. But like you said, if you're boarding it for a very good reason, and Magma Spray seems like a little bit better. So.
Yep. Anyway, guys, that is Red White Devotion. We'll take a look at Todd's deck, and then we'll go to battle.